Sonic Forces. I don't know why I said that with an accent, but if that offended any of you guys, I apologize.
Yahoo! Now that looks nasty.
Hey guys, Hypertonick here, and today I'm going to talk about Sonic Forces and Sonic Mania. There wasn't really anything new shown off about Sonic Mania at E3, but there was one thing I wanted to talk about, and it was during one of the sessions that Aaron Weber had with groups of people. I forget which group it was, but Aaron Weber was talking about Sonic Mania, and one thing he said that stuck out to me that I didn't notice before. I don't know if you guys knew this. You probably did, but I didn't notice for some reason. So all the returning acts returning zones in Sonic Mania, Act 1 for each returning zone is going to be a mix of Act 1 and Act 2 from the original game that zone was from, and then Act 2 is going to be a completely remastered act for the zone, as to have new gimmicks, and basically turn it into as if it was an entirely new zone within that returning zone. So that's actually a really good thing, making it like it's not being a one-to-one direct copy of the original zone. There's going to be a whole lot more added to make it feel like its own original thing. So that's really good. I don't know how I didn't know that before about Mania, but now I do. But yeah, like I said, there wasn't anything new about Mania released or shown off at E3, so there's nothing really for me to talk about for Mania besides that one little thing. However, Sonic Forces is the big deal at E3. There was a new trailer shown off, and the first ever demo for Sonic Forces was playable, and there was quite a few new stuff, one of which was the custom hero going through Green Hill. Okay, I know that disappoints a lot of you, that now not only Classic Sonic is back going through Green Hill, but now the custom hero is going through Green Hill, and it's entirely 2D. Okay, so there's one 3D section at the end where the custom hero is being chased by a crab robot, but basically the entire stage is 2D. However, there's one thing I want to know. So Sonic Forces is more of being based off of colors and generations, and in Sonic Colors there was a few stages that were primarily 2D. There's like one entirely 2D act per world in Sonic Colors. And since Sonic Forces is being more based off of colors, with modern Sonic having the boost wisp and double jump, it's kind of easy to see how Sega is putting entirely 2D stages in Forces, because they've already done that in Colors. And personally, I'm alright with that. It's just that the acts, the stages shown off in the demo, they were really short. So I hope there's more stages that are more longer, and primarily 3D and open. If that's even possible as of now. So yeah, the custom heroes level, it was alright, it was decent. I mean, yeah, the wisp spawn lets you go through multiple different pathways, so that's good. I like how they're using the evolution of wisps into wisp spawns in this game. It's actually a nice change to turn the table. Instead of Sonic Lost World just plopping the wisps in the game and like, hey, the wisps are back. There's no reason for them to be back, but you can use them. So yeah, that's a thing. But Sonic Forces is so far doing it right. And then we have Modern Sonic, and Modern Sonic's level apparently was never called Park Avenue. Park Avenue is just for the custom hero. Modern Sonic's level is actually called City Heights. I think this actually goes back to Sonic Adventure 2, where some characters will have the same stages as others, but it will be named differently and have different routes and stuff. Which was also in Sonic Heroes, which every team had the same levels as each other, but they had different routes, and it was worded, the name of the stage was different. So yeah, as you can see, my memory is very vague of Adventure 2 and Heroes, but that's another thing. Sega said that the way you'll be playing the stages will be similar to Sonic Adventure 2, where like you're playing as this stage with one of the characters and then the next stage with the other. So it's not going to be like Generations, where both Modern and Classic Sonic go through the same acts. It's not going to be like that. So not all three characters are going to go through the same acts or stages. But yeah, Modern Sonic stage of City Heights, we've seen it before. So we've seen the first half of it, and now we saw the second half, or well, the rest of it. And okay, so you know, the level is completely 3D in the beginning, going through the long hallways, boosting into robots, and then there's some little there's a little section that's kind of open in a sense, not really. But then right after that, you go into a loop, and it sends you into a 2D section. So you wonder, oh, okay, a 2D section. When am I gonna get back into another 3D section? Never, cause the rest of the stage is 2D. You could say that it's half 3D, half 2D, but the thing about Generations Colors and Unleashed, they had a mix where like this section is 3D, this section is 2D, then you go back to 3D, then back to 2D, and then back to 3D, and so on and so forth. No, it just starts at City Heights, just starts at 3D, and then it continues on 2D for the rest of the level. I'm not too sure about that, but at least the level design is okay. But yeah, Sonic stage is okay. I mean, you saw a familiar face of a certain character at the end, but I'll get into that later. So yeah, we talked about Custom Heroes stage and Modern Sonic stage. Now we've got Classic Sonic, and he had a boss battle out of all things. So that's actually really cool. The first boss battle that we've seen in Sonic Forces, and you know, Classic Sonic's in Green Hill fighting Eggman with, you know, the ball and chain, but now it's a spinning saw blade, so open up the difficulty. I see Eggman, or well, the artillery. But you know, it's going back to that first iconic boss battle, so you know, you beat Eggman and you think you're done. Not quite. Now he's got the second phase. He's got the Egg Dragoon, which was the second to final boss in Sonic Unleashed, and the second to final boss in Generations. That's actually really cool, because you know, I like how in Sonic Mania, Green Hill, Act 2 has the Death Egg robot from the final boss of Sonic 2. So I really like that. Also, Sonic Forces, I really like the graphics. It's looking really cool. So yeah, you've gone up against the Egg Dragoon as the Werehog, you've gone up against it as Modern Sonic. How's Classic Sonic gonna fight it? Well, the Egg Dragoon will send pieces of Green Hill and rubble at you, and you just have to hit it back. Well, yeah, well, you can only hit back the ones that are like the black spheres. So, but yeah, overall, the gameplay in the demo for Sonic Forces is really good. But there's one last thing I'm leaving out, and that's the trailer that was also shown off at E3. So it showed off all the gameplay that was at the demo that you could play at E3. So what other new stuff was there? Well, how about showing off the villains of the game? So we saw 4 returning villains with Shadow, Metal Sonic, Zavik, and Chaos. The most surprising to all of us was probably Zavik. I mean, okay, credit where credit is due. Out of the entire Deadly Six, Zavik is definitely the most, like, menacing. But, come on. The dude was in Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. How is he supposed to be threatening in an Olympic sport? But then, we got Chaos here, who is supposedly good, well, supposedly turned good after Sonic Adventure from, like, seeing Chao, and, yeah, Chaos turned good. So, you're probably wondering how he's back, how he somehow made his way as a villain in Forces. And I'll explain that as well. But then we also got Metal Sonic, who Eggman can rebuild any time. I mean, we've seen Metal Sonic blow up into pieces various amounts of times. But then we also got Shadow. And people have been speculating, like, why is Shadow a villain? He's always been an anti-hero. Why is Shadow... Shadow's never been full-on dark. He's never been full-on evil. Why is he joining Eggman? And Sega did confirm that Shadow is with Eggman for his own personal reasons. But there's one last thing that I want to talk about that ties most of this together, from my speculation at least. There's a new villain in Forces, and his name is Infinite. And let's be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if his full name is Infinite the Hedgehog, because every anniversary title we've seen a new Hedgehog, being Shadow, Silver, and then the return of Classic Sonic, so if Infinite is a Hedgehog, then I wouldn't be surprised. But then again, you can create a Hedgehog as your custom hero, so we already got a guaranteed new Hedgehog for the anniversary title. But, okay, so way back when Sonic Forces was first announced, and it was still known as Project Sonic 2017, all we knew was that Eggman controlled 99% of the world with a new power source. We now know that is Infinite, and we wonder, what's his power? Because we speculate he must have some sort of relationship with Classic Sonic being in the game, and then Shadow being on the evil side, and all these returning villains coming back. Well, there's one thing that I have in mind, and you know, some people think it might be more time travel or mind control, which might explain why Shadow is on Eggman's side, but I have one reason why it's this specific power, and that power is dimension crossing. And I believe that because in the Classic Sonic fight with Eggman, when he goes into Phase 2 as the Egg Dragoon, Eggman says, "You've got a lot of nerve for a pint-sized Sonic from another dimension." So you heard it here, Classic Sonic is not Sonic from the past anymore. He's Sonic from another dimension, which kind of makes sense because at the end of Generations you saw Classic Sonic go into a portal to his world. So maybe Classic Sonic did go into an entirely new dimension where everything's 2D. Okay, but if dimension crossing is Infinite's power, then that would tie into why the Wisps are back, why Classic Sonic is back, why the returning villains are back, like Zavek and Chaos. So I really do believe that dimension crossing would be a better power for Infinite than the other powers that people speculate, but again, that's just my thoughts, so I could be wrong. The story for Sonic Forces has so much hype benefiting off of that one clip of showing off all the villains, and I'm pretty sure this is the most hype we've ever been for Sonic Forces out of all the hype, because we have to know more about the story. Oh my god.